All right, so I've decided to do my Genius Hour research on the plants in my garden. I was really excited about this topic because I want to learn more about local plants because I love to hike and explore state parks and admire nature. And so I'd like to learn as much about it as I can and, the ecosystems and biomes that these plants are from so that I can explore them better and so that I can share that knowledge with other people. And I'm really enthusiastic about the importance of having a garden in your front lawn, or better yet, replacing your lawn. Now, a lawn, which pretty much everyone has on Long Island, is relatively low productivity. It doesn't really do anything for the environment, the ecosystem, and really nothing for the birds, the insects that live here. Whereas a garden, even if it's not native plants, is extremely beneficial to the ecosystem because it provides pollen for bees and butterflies and other pollinators, and shelters for small animals. Perhaps small birds could create nests in the garden, or squirrels can seek refuge. And these plants are an integral part of keeping the natural ecosystem healthy. It keeps um, local temperatures down, and it filters the air, of course, and it sequesters carbon out of the atmosphere, which is hugely beneficial, especially in our town, Northport, which has the smokestacks. That's burning oil, which is a fossil fuel, and it puts carbon into the atmosphere. Plants in gardens, in people's lawns, that solves that problem. So anyone could have a garden in their lawn, perennial garden, which is what I have, um, and you're doing a huge service to your community. So my garden has rosemary, lamb's ear, and oregano. You can see the rosemary right behind me in this picture right here. It's this big bush, and the lamb's ear, which is like crawling out over my right shoulder, and the oregano, which is right here. Um, these are the plants that I'll be going over today because they're certainly some of my favorite plants in my garden, um, and so I'm going to go over them. Starting with rosemary, otherwise known as Salvia rosmarinus, and rosemary grows in areas where winter reaches temperatures between 10 and 35 degrees Fahrenheit. So obviously, it can grow here. Um, Now, this picture really doesn't do it justice. Rosemary is this big bush, and so it requires a lot of sun and a lot of rain. And this is why it grows in the Mediterranean scrub biome, which is characterized by sandy, loosely packed, drained soils with lots of sun and lots of rain by the Mediterranean, which perfectly we have on Long Island. Long Island is basically just a dump of sand from a glacier. And so the soil is very sandy, it's loose, it drains easily, um, and we are right by the sound, and we're between the sound and the ocean, so we get a lot of rain here and lots of sun. It's an island, so it's really perfect place for rosemary to grow. Um, Now, this is also why rosemary doesn't do so well in heavy clay soils, which you will find in certain areas of Long Island. Long Island, while it is mostly sand, it has a lot of different biomes within it. It's really an awesome place because it can support so many uh, different plants. But so rosemary does well here in Northport, and that's why it thrives in my garden. Um, Now, originally, it's native to the Mediterranean, but also um, Southern Europe and Western Asia. So that's not particularly by the Mediterranean, although it's called the Mediterranean scrub biome. We find it, we find it in Western Asia, and we find it here on Long Island, and also in California. That's a big Mediterranean scrub biome. Now, rosemary's applications. Mainly, rosemary is used for cooking. I use it all the time. I have, I'm Italian, and we have a lot of Italian dishes in my house. And so, we go outside with a pair of scissors and we cut off a little bit of rosemary, and we throw it into whatever we're making, and it's a seasoning. It has a really great flavor, and it smells amazing. Is really my favorite part of it. Just like going up to the bush and smelling the rosemary. But also, rosemary has a history of being used for medicinal purposes. So this was kind of the point of researching for Genius Hour. I know what the plants in my garden are used for because I use them, but I don't know really where they're from or that much about them, which is why I wanted to learn more, because I figured, well, if I can do this with rosemary, if I can cook with it, what else can I do? So the scent, obviously, could be used in anything that you would want scent for. So shampoos and lotions and soaps. It really does have I love the scent. So that's rosemary. Now let's go on to lamb's ear. Lamb's ear, otherwise known as Stachys byzantina, is it's a really interesting plant because you can't really see in the pictures, but it has a soft texture like a lamb's ear. It's really soft and it's so nice. But it's mostly ornamental. That's what I've used it for in my garden. We don't really use it for anything other than looking pretty. But I thought surely there must be a use for it. And sure enough, lamb's ear is also known as woolly woundwort. The woundwort being used for medicinal purposes. So the oils that it contains, or the inside of the leaf, if you notice when if you tear apart the leaf, it has like this very fleshy and kind of aloe on the inside of it. And I never thought anything of it, but now I know it can be used to treat wounds. It's a natural antiseptic and a natural antispasmodic. So you can apply it to your muscles and, stop them from spazzing. But lamb's ear also is edible. You can make it into salad or you can make it into tea. You dry the leaves and ground them up, put them into a tea bag, and drain them through the hot water, and you have yourself a soothing tea. And so lamb's ear is native to Turkey, Armenia, and Iran, which is, again, part of, or at least around, the Mediterranean scrub biome. So that's why it does well here on Long Island, where we have well-drained soils and full sun, and not too much moisture because the soil drains well and it's sandy, which is what lamb's ear thrives in. All right, so let's move on to oregano. Oregano, otherwise known as Origanum vulgare, coming from Latin meaning just ordinary, which I thought was interesting. So again, oregano grows well in well-drained soils, which are sandy and in full sun, which is exactly what we have here. And it is native to Greece, Turkey, and the Aegean Islands, which are on the Mediterranean. Starting to see a pattern here. Now, oregano is also used mostly for cooking, like rosemary. It's another herb used in Italian dishes, which I suppose is why I have oregano and rosemary in my garden. And it's used in tomato sauces and any other dish that you would want to use such an herb for. Again, it has a nice smell, addition to the flavor. And there is a subspecies which is actually more commonly used in culinary called Origanum hirdum, which is the Greek oregano or winter sweet majoram. This is actually the subspecies that I have in my garden. I couldn't find as much about it, but that's really because it's very quite similar to the original species of oregano. But the Greek oregano, it has a stronger flavor and it has more colorful leaves. Depending on how you treat the soil, you can change the acidity of the soil, and it will change the color of the leaves as it grows. You can have orange or red, but generally it's green. And now, if you want to learn more about the plants in my garden or the some of the other uses and applications, or I suppose the ecosystem benefits to each of these plants, you can check out my works cited, and this will take you to additional information. Thank you.